That game was awful. That game was terrible. Oh, how did it get away? I mean, I know how it got away, but let him off the hook. Let him off the hook a little bit there. Let him off the hook. Had a chance. Mets game 3 at home, NLCS against the Los Angeles Dodgers. What did we actually end up losing? 7-0, 8-0? I don't really even know what the final score was.
I think it was 8-0.
Yeah, 8-0. The Mets have scored, I think, runs in only 3 innings in this series right now, through 3 games, which is not great. Not great there. And I mean, listen, I'm gonna be like a little disappointed today. I'm still not out. Don't worry, I'm not giving up. There's none of that nonsense coming on over here. But losing today's game definitely did change the vibe a little bit for the first time all postseason during this crazy run that the Mets have had. We'll talk all about what happened in game 3 with you guys. Of course, make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel. See the video version of this. And if you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, wasn't sitting with you tonight. I was sitting with Clay. Shout out Clay, Jeff McHitz. How were you feeling up in your seats today? Because it was not great down by me.
Terrible. I mean, it was just we talked about to you guys on Monday that this Monday. What I don't remember what day we talked about last Tuesday. Today's Thursday now, so we talked to you guys Tuesday. God, I don't know the days of the week right now. I just know what game it is in the series, but we just had chances. The way it came out was electric. Where Luis Severino had such an easy inning against the top of the Dodgers lineup. He got through Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman in 12 pitches. He struck out Betts and Freeman, one looking, one swinging. Ohtani had a lazy ground out to start the game. And you're like, wow, like we're here. Like this is a moment. Like Walker Buehler's taking the mound. This guy's been terrible. Like we get an early lead. Like this place, the roof's going to pop off this place. And then Lindor on a 2-0 pitch, first bat of the Mets for the game. First of all, we sang the My Girl singing for Lindor the first bat. That was so electric. That was incredible. I wish I could have seen how that got caught on Fox because that in the stadium was like, wow, I can't believe we're doing this. We were 2 pitches into the game. We were still singing.
Yeah.
And then he laced one to left center field. That was like, oh, Gapper. And then it just got caught. And then Vientos struck out. Nimmo got a hit. Alonso struck out. And then it got the second inning immediately. All the wind gets sucked out for the Dodgers bullshit rally. When a couple balls clank off Severino's glove, Alvarez makes a throwing error. And you just kind of felt like the team never really got back on their groove because right after that, too, in the second inning, we had bases low to 1 out. Francisco Alvarez had one of the worst strikeouts I've ever seen a hitter have. And then Lindor had also a really tough strikeout on just a really good couple of pitches by Walker Buehler, who, like, we gave him shit. Hats off to Walker Buehler. He pitched his ass off in this game. This looked like 2018 Walker Buehler. I literally couldn't believe what I was seeing when I was looking at the Citi Field fucking signs, all the pitch movement. I was seeing 22 inches of inverted vertical break on his fastball. Like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, check his damn hands. But credit to him. And then Severino battled, and we got guys on base. We never got a big hit, and the whole thing just kind of blah.
Yeah. When you leave the bases loaded like that, when you leave first and second, when you leave just sloppy baseball offensively, sloppy baseball defensively. I know Lindor made that one phenomenal play because he's the man, of course, but Severino with those plays, Alvarez was really bad. I mean, maybe one of the worst games of his career that I can remember tonight. Questionable decisions at the plate, made a bad throwing error, like you said, in that inning where you got to get one. And that felt like a classic 22-year-old trying to do a little bit too much because he can't do anything right now at the plate. He's been absolutely miserable. It sucked. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm going to grab the blue towel. They changed up the towels on us, too. Didn't love that.
One.
You've got one. There you go, James. They went with blue towels, which the towel looks great. I mean, it's a nice-looking towel.
Beautiful towel.
Great towel. But we've been rocking the orange towels. Why did we change to blue when we're playing the only other blue team, basically? Felt a little strange. The blue doesn't really also pick up on the camera, I feel like, nearly as well as the orange, which is disappointing. The DJ, sorry, DJ Lomo, I'm sure you're a nice guy, but the music selection was horrendous in between innings. It made me want to go to sleep. It made me feel like I was at a bar mitzvah, like a 13-year-old's birthday party. It was just absolutely, the vibes were bad. Alvarez Perez was there. Why is he being gallivanted around on the field? One of the worst Mets ever, like terrible. Alvarez Perez historically couldn't get big outs for the Mets when they needed it most. He was
hell of a guy.
I met him in Arizona last year. We shared a beer.
Hell of a guy.
Really nice guy. Sucked on the Mets. Not one of my favorite Mets, even close. Definitely towards the bottom of that list. Hated Oliver Perez as a New York Met. The fuck is he doing on the field? Like, Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, great Mets. Throwing out the first pitch. Felt weird that Darryl threw the first pitch to Doc, too. That's not how that doesn't make any sense. Why is Doc not throwing the ball? He's the pitcher. Regardless, the fuck is Oliver Perez doing on the field? Get him off of there. And then, I hate, again, Monday morning quarterback here. I know people are getting a little mad at me because I apparently take shots at every single decision Mendoza makes, but this is the postseason. This is what you got to do.
Did we even intro the episode?
Yeah, I did. I introed it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you spaced out. You were. I mean, it's late. It's tired. I'm tired.
I'm just
frustrated. But starting JD Martinez tonight made
so bad.
Absolutely. There's no world where starting JD Martinez has made any sense. Jesse Winker's better. There's no doubt.
Everything.
There was a right-handed pitcher on the mound. Jesse Winker mashes right-handed pitching. He has been mashing. He's been getting on base. He's been having good at-bats. He is not an automatic double play when the ball's hit on the ground. I still don't really understand why JD Martinez is in the lineup. Maybe Jesse Winker's back is acting up and Mendoza's not saying anything.
Maybe.
That has to be the only reason, because this doesn't even make sense from Carlos Mendoza's brain. Like, this is not what he's been doing all year long. This was like this was too much feel. This was too old school baseball. Like, we got to get JD Martinez right. It's the fucking NLCS. He's not him anymore. It's not the same guy.
Yeah, I got really pissed off with the "we gotta get him right" comment, because I'm just like, this isn't. There's no more time to get somebody right. This is it. Like, you have maybe 3 games left in your season. Why could you try to get somebody right now?
And what's so frustrating too is that Jesse Winker has been hitting really well. He has been hot. The at-bats have been great. He's been putting the ball in play, or at least getting on base when he's not getting hits. I feel like all his at-bats have been really competitive. You got to play the hot hand in the postseason. If someone's cold, you got to move. You got to make changes. If someone's hot, you got to reward them. Kike Hernandez, terrible all season long. Awful, awful player for the last 3 years. But in the postseason, that guy turns the fuck up. And what do the Dodgers do? Slot him right in center field to play every single day. And he's been leading this team offensively. Dominant. He's been their best hitter in the postseason.
Also, I'm with you on the Jesse Winker, JD Martinez situation, but just to be the devil's advocate, he did get on base twice. He did start a couple rallies. Again, there were walks, and they were just, he got grinded out some at bats, and you don't feel like he could never actually hit the ball hard. Just having some data here, JD Martinez.
You might as well walk him. He's so slow.
Yeah, he's not really been hitting the ball hard at all. He's had one ball hit over 105 miles an hour if you go all the way back to like September 20th. And it was one time. It was actually a double play that weekend against the Brewers. It's the only time he hasn't hit the ball over 105 miles an hour since September 20th. It's just not good. Like, you don't think there's really a chance for him to like break a game open. You don't think there's a chance for him to put the ball over a fence. And now we're 3 games into this series, and every single game, the team that hit more home runs won the game.
Shocker, but home runs win baseball games.
And again, that's also a no shit, because the Mets have been fucking shut out twice now in 2 games of the series. And the Mets have 11 total runs going back to the beginning of Game 5 against the Phillies. 8 of those 11 runs came via grand slams. 2 of the first 3 grand slams in Mets franchise history. So, like, we're not scoring in a sustainable way. And I just don't think the way this lineup is set right now is going to help us score in sustainable ways.
Yeah, and then I gotta bring up Jeff McNeil too. If he can't play, what is he here for? Why is he on the roster? Because it seems Mendoza said he's not playing tomorrow against Yamamoto. He's also said Jesse Winker is not playing tomorrow against Yamamoto. He said Francisco Alvarez is starting again, and Alvarez's at-bats have been horrible. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think Mendoza is still a good manager. This doesn't change any of my opinion on what he's done this year, moving forward, whatnot. But I need better explanations than what we're getting right now as to why we're going against the grain all of a sudden in the postseason.
That at-bat by Alvarez in the second inning, I think, is a good microcosm for what's going on with him and who he is right now as a player, because he's up with the bases loaded after, again, JD Martinez draws a tough walk after Marte grinds out to start the inning. Jose Iglesias hits a hot shot, who did swing a better bat tonight, but still definitely leaving a lot to be desired offensively. But hits a hot shot, Tommy Edman bobbles it, winds up being an infield single. Tyrone Taylor, another guy who just, it doesn't look pretty sometimes, but he grinds out some fucking at-bats. The bases, he walks, the bases are loaded for Alvarez. And Alvarez, I think, kind of wanted his moment in this spot.
Very much so.
And again, lots of credit to Walker Buehler. He stepped up and threw basically his best game of the whole season, the Dodgers' biggest game of the whole season to this point, which was tonight. So we'll talk about him and Severino a little bit more. But I think Alvarez was just totally expecting, like that Friday night game we played against the Phillies last month, where I think it might have still been Taijuan Walker, the first reliever in the game, just gruesome a fastball, first pitch, bases loaded. He just pipped the ball, hit it 450 feet in the air. And he wanted to do exactly that. And Walker Buehler's smarter than that. He's a veteran. He's not going to do that. He throws him his first pitch, knuckle curve. The knuckle curve was really working all night. And Alvarez swings so fucking hard that he loses the bat and throws it. It would have gone into the stands. It hits the net. So at that moment, as a pitcher, you're like, oh, I know exactly what he's trying to do. And the next pitch, he freezes him again with a sweeper. And then he freezes him with a fastball after that. He went striking out. And then Francisco Lindor comes up, strikes out again. Also some really good pitches by Walker Buehler. And we also heard from some people watching on TV, the zone wasn't exactly the most consistent, but both teams had the same bullshit zone.
Yep.
It was just a situation where the Mets had just fallen down 2-0. All you have to do is put the baseball in play. But all Alvarez wanted to do is put the ball into the seats and have this big moment. And that really cost the team because then momentum kind of started to go out of the whack. The crowd lost the game a little bit. Buehler settled in a little bit. And that was kind of it. There's no reason that should have been it. Like, the Mets still had base runners every single inning. But that was a clear shift in that second inning where the Dodgers squeaked out 2 runs they did not deserve. And then we didn't get any runs when it felt like we had a very golden opportunity to get them.
Yeah, and I think, again, we had it in the 3rd inning, maybe even again in the 4th inning, guys on base, and just couldn't get a big hit. There was a moment in this game where it was Jose Iglesias versus Walker Buehler, and I was shocked they didn't go to Jeff McNeil at that moment because I think there was a man on first or second, or was that?
The 4th inning was the first time we didn't get a guy on base. That was Walker Buehler's final inning. And Iglesias started, I think, with a line drive. And then that was the bottom of the other 7, 8, 9.
So there was some point in this game where I was like, where's Jeff McNeil? Like,
it was in the 6th inning.
That's it.
When Iglesias came up with 1 out and 2 men on. He grounded into a double play.
Yes. And I was just like, again, if McNeil is not healthy, I get it. Like, he can't play. But then why was he on this roster? Because that spot could be used for a pitcher or someone else who could help. It's kind of the same thing that I'm feeling with Luis Torrens right now, too. I know you have to carry 2 catchers or whatever. We've played Luis Torrens this year. If you look at their offensive numbers between him and Alvarez, there's really not that much of a difference in terms of what they did this season. I know Alvarez has a way higher ceiling. I'm not going to pretend like they're the same player offensively. But right now, the version of Francisco Alvarez we're getting, this feels like just give Luis Torrens a shot. He's also incredible defensively.
I just think there also is something to the fact that who the pitchers want to throw to, who they're used to throwing to. Everyone really lauds Alvarez's ability as a receiver, and I think he's good at that. And he, again, defensively, I'm not going to tell you he's been bad. He made that. It was a bad decision he made tonight, but it wasn't really a bad play. Like, it's not something about his defense. It's just about where his head's at, which it does another good reason for an off day. But then I'm going to do some crazy right now. You ready for this? This is going to be a callback for last month, 2 months ago. There might be something to the way Eric Chavez was coaching Francisco Alvarez when we told him to stop pulling the ball, because it's probably not much of a body thing. It's a head thing with Alvarez, where you could just see in the second inning, he wants to be the hero. He wants to be the guy. He wants to do the big play. Where in that situation, maybe if he was just looking single, maybe he hits a fly ball. You know what I mean? Maybe he has a strikeout every single bat. This fucked up my head. That's how spun out I am after this game. But we'll get back to all this nonsense. Gonna give you guys a quick ad, though, before we move on to the rest of this game.
I can't believe we still have to talk more about this game. I'm so done with this game. I'm so done with it.
Well, we're flushing it. A couple more minutes, we're flushing this game.
Yeah, that's true. That is, we got to flush it out because there is another game today when you guys are listening to this in the morning or in the afternoon or maybe on your way to Citi Field sitting in traffic, because I heard there was quite a bit of traffic on the way there today. But
a lot of traffic.
Just really an awful game. So bad.
Terrible. And there was something that happened in this game that we were really hoping wouldn't happen. That's something that we were kind of thinking wouldn't happen, where Dave Roberts really outmanaged Carlos Mendoza.
Yeah.
He did. There were a lot of little teeny tiny things that each of them did where Roberts got a lot of little micro wins, and they really added up over this game. That began with the lineup, with the fact that Jesse Winker, your lefty, is on the bench. And the Dodgers don't really have a great counter for that because they only have one lefty in their bullpen. We've said it before, Alex Vesia off the roster this series. Anthony Banda, old friend, he's their only lefty. Every single time that there was a situation where the Mets started to get men on against Walker Buehler, Dave Roberts would just get Banda up. So you would see Anthony Banda's name on the Jumbotron. You see he's warming up. And every single time that I seemed like dissuaded Carlos Mendoza from doing it. There was one opportunity, though, Mendoza could have done it, where it was the 6th inning, right before that Jose Iglesias double play. Ryan Brazier came in, and the third batter of the inning was JD Martinez after Starling Marte hit a single. And I was like, still 4-0. This is the moment. He can't counter you. Put Jesse Winker in the game, which, again, this really just makes me think it's either Mendoza has an undying loyalty to JD Martinez. He's willing to go down with the ship because of how much he meant to this team over the summer, or Jesse Winker's back might be fucked and he actually just needs these full days off. And if his back is fucked, then it's a competitive advantage. I wouldn't be telling the other team this. I wouldn't be making this public, and that's fine. So maybe we're just going to be totally wrong about this. We're going to find out in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, whenever in this offseason that Jesse Winker's back was fucked. That's why he wasn't able to play every day. And then Carlos Mendoza, you'll be absolved. But if this is just undying loyalty to JD Martinez, and there's these opportunities to leave him in the game when your best case scenario is like a bleeder up the middle or a walk, and your worst case scenario is these horrible flailing strikeouts like he did many times on Wednesday night, it's bad managing. And it's just Dave Roberts so easily countered that. Another great thing Dave Roberts said, we were giving him shit for not using any of their top relievers in the first 2 games in Los Angeles between Kopech, Evan Phillips, and Blake Trinan. Walker Buehler pitched a really good game. He seemed to be getting better as it went on. But in that 4th inning, when it was still 2-0, he yanks Walker Buehler after he gets out 7-8-9. And the bottom of the 5th inning, when the Mets are top of the order, bang, Michael Kopech's in the game. And credit to the Mets, because Francisco Lindor and Mark Vientos each hit deep fly balls to the warning track. And the Vientos one I thought for sure was out. I checked back this year, balls with that exit velocity and that launch angle. Mark sneezing. Mark held the sneeze. Sneeze never came.
No, I really wanted it, and it just I started thinking about it too much.
Yeah, there were 40 similar balls hit to that Mark Vientos's, which was between 103 and 104 miles an hour exit velocity, and between 32 and 33 degrees launch angle, 2 straightaway center. 13 of them were home runs. Another 4 were doubles, and even the one he hit tonight, it would have been a home run in 2 parks, Mark, and one of them was Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, of course it was Dodger Stadium, low-key bandbox.
Yeah, so again, like that was just a little tiny move where I was like, ooh, that was good managing right there. Where this guy hasn't pitched yet in the series. The game, it's only a 2-run game. Your starting pitcher was pitching well, but you didn't want him to see these guys a third time. Bring in your best reliever and get their best hitters out.
And again, we've been mentioning Mendoza stuff a lot. I think that's
still love Mendoza.
Still love Mendoza. So great. End of the day, the team that's out there has to hit, and the Mets just simply did not get any big hits today. And Francisco Lindor said it after the game: we need to execute with runners on base, and we did not. Nope, literally not a single time this entire game. And you go back to game 1, the middle of the order was 0 for whatever, top of the order was 0 for 13 to start that game. Really, in game 2, again, it was 2 innings that the guys really hit with guys in scoring position. Again, one of them was a grand slam that brought all 4 in. So it was like, the offense has definitely hit a skid right now. I don't know what they do to switch it. I think we
had 4 singles in this game. We had 4 singles. One of them was infield single that was arguably an error. A couple of them were bloop shots. The Vientos one was a bloop shot. The Nimmo one was also an infield single.
Yeah.
And the Marte one was kind of a bloop shot too. We didn't really hit a ball in the screws for a hit tonight. Like, how you can't win a game like that?
No, and I think another thing that is hurting this offense is also Brandon Nimmo is clearly not 100%, even close to it.
Might not be 50.
Yeah, I just can't even imagine that he's feeling too well based on how he's performed and what we know is going on. And I don't know how you fix this. This is not a what are you doing scenario type thing, but he is hitting 3rd in this lineup. So he's getting a ton of at-bats in the middle of the order with guys on base, and he's just not at his best, which is hurting us. So it's like, do you move Pete up? Do you get Jesse Winker hitting up higher in this order?
Winker.
I know.
Marte's even swinging the bat better than most other guys right now, but it's still not great. And again, like that first game was top of the order 0 for 13. In this game, from 6 down the order, only there was only 1 hit.
Yeah.
And that's the problem right now. You're getting nothing. I mean, Tyron Taylor still taking some good at bats, but Jose Iglesias, sadly, he's turned to a bit of a pumpkin at the worst possible time. Alvarez is lost. JD looks fucking cooked like an egg. It's just, It's pain. Reed Garrett gives up his first big hit in what feels like a month and a half. That sucked to Kike Hernandez. Ugh. I still don't even know. Like, Severino battled. I wouldn't tell you pitch great, but I also wouldn't tell you pitch that poorly. He definitely pitched well enough to keep his team in the game and give us a chance to win.
The runs that he gave up were kind of his fault, too, of like...
Yeah, just making an error. Yeah. Fucking Gold Glove finalist. The only Gold Glove finalist this team. Go figure, Francisco Lindor is not. Luis Severino is, and he has stone hands in the playoffs. And Buehler looked amazing. Buehler's stuff was his best start of the year. This stuff looked like 2018 Buehler. The way that he moved, like... all of his pitches, my guy MJD Analysis put out a really good tweet about it because it's just like the way he articulated the movement here. I'm going to use his words exactly. Where is he? MJD. I'll find it right now. You say something. No, my guy Mikey, MJD Analysis, I think he works for Nova Baseball. This is one of the most ridiculous movement profiles I've ever seen with Major League balls. 20 inches of vert from a 5.5-foot launch. 2 breaking balls as a siren wails behind me.
Good, you know what? Fine,
it doesn't matter.
Emergency.
Two breaking balls traveling 20 inches in either direction, a bridge color to bring them all together, and a 2-seamer against righties for good measure. It was literally, this was like the Walker Buehler when he was like a burgeoning ace,
When
like
I
a
was
future
like, wow,
superstar.
Walker
This
Buehler's
guy's
a
going to be
fucking
the
dog.
best.
Yeah.
This start might have made Walker Buehler 20 to 40 the extra $1 million offseason. This took him off the 1 year rental kind of package, which is hilarious because we've been making a stupid fucking joke for the last 3 months. He's going to be the 1 year rental on the Mets next year. Probably not anymore with that fucking sweeper. But also, this is another problem with Mendoza, is playing the whole lineup of righties. You're giving him an option to throw that sweeper.
Yeah.
That's his best fucking pitch. Even if you put the lefties in, I know if you don't really trust him that much, at least he can't throw that pitch. Like, you're not. Sometimes baseball is a little bit about playing chess and not just about the people's personalities. But those are so good with the personalities. That was a chess move. You were like, no, I want to let them be able to use their best pitches against us. You could have just been a little cute about it. I don't know.
It's got to be an injury thing, right? It has to be.
It both, but then like probably is with Winker and McNeil, I guess. But if it's not, it's just fucking stupid. Like, there isn't a shred of logic that could tell you that in this game with this matchup, JD Martinez is better than Jesse Winker.
And what's funny too is I know, like, on Twitter, a lot of the discourse about Winker, they're like, he's got 2 home runs off Buehler in his career, and you were like, that's not the same Walker Buehler. It actually
None of that
was
matters.
tonight, although it actually kind of was
Yeah,
tonight.
this was actually this version of Walker Buehler. But that shit doesn't matter either. I hate when people use those stats. Like, these pitchers are so fucking different all the time.
Totally.
It matters a little bit mentally, but like Walker Buehler, now again, tonight it mattered, but he used to be the guy that threw 98, like up in the zone, like all this shit was different. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's a worse pitcher, I'm sure he'd do better.
Yeah. I don't know. Just the whole thing is just, it's painful.
Yeah, it sucked. It was a bad game. Flush it down the toilet. Forget about it. Another one tomorrow. Severino said after the game, we've done this before. We've been down in this series before.
Totally.
We can come back. There's no reason we can't come back tomorrow.
That's actually not true. The Mets have not been down in a series this whole postseason.
Oh, well, I'm just paraphrasing what he said. I don't think he physically said that. I'm just going. He said, this is nothing new. We need to come back and try to win tomorrow. If we win 2 out of 3 here, that would be huge for us. There's exactly what he said. But he's right. I guess I won't have FOMO on Friday while I'm flying to Chicago celebrating going to the World Series.
Yeah, I might be I might be in a bad spot that day. But I posted a little quick tweet on the Mets'd Twitter, just a couple questions for you guys. Some of you guys had some really funny responses. Our guy Brandon at BLux279. Do you believe MLB is rigging it for the Dodgers? No, definitely not. Definitely not. But the Mets did hit some of those balls tonight. I couldn't believe they didn't get out. The Pete one, the third inning, 2 second at bat off Buehler. Lindor had 2 of them, the one off Kopech, and then the first at bat of the game, the Vientos one. I was like, where the fuck are these going? Another one, this is a good one from Michael McD, which is true. Like, we're not giving up. We're just lamenting right now. We're venting. Why are so many Mets fans ready to give up? I'm not ready to give up. We're not fucking ready to give up. That's not true. Another one here from Chris, New Yorker in the Midwest. Why does God hate us? That's a good one. A lot of where was Winker? Where was Winker? Where was Winker? Of course. Another one from Christopher Zico. Do you actually think, would you start Luis Torrens over Francisco Alvarez?
I think I'd be giving him a bump against Yoshinobu Yamamoto tomorrow. I really do. There's obviously way more ceiling with Francisco Alvarez. There's no doubt that when he's right, he has the ability to take over a game. We've seen it. He can change the way a game is played. Having him in the 9-hole when he's right is dangerous. That's a very, very dangerous hitter there. But he is not right. He is about as lost as I've ever seen a player in the postseason. His age is really showing. I don't want to say immaturity, but his lack of seasoning is kind of showing a little bit.
Lack of a plan.
Yeah, lack of plan. It feels like a confident 22-year-old who's in a funk, getting figured out. And he's like, I'm better. I'm going to get out of this just by being the same player I always have been rather than making adjustments. Might not be fair to say that, but that's what it looks like on the outside looking in. I really would give Luis Torrens a bump tomorrow. What's the worst he can do? 0 for 4? I mean, that's kind of what Alvarez
with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's at least going to be like Alvarez has been fine defensively, whatever. His framing was a little iffy today, apparently. Torrens is at least going to be rock solid behind the plate, so you have that. I don't know.
I also think logically, like if there was ever a time to give him a blow, like it's the middle game of the 3 games in the middle of the series.
Yes.
And just give him a breath. And you can even tell him, like,
you technically got an earlier start on Friday. Like,
yeah, like it's just not the worst idea. Because again, we talked about at the beginning of the series. This is the first time this Mets team has had a breath in weeks. Maybe it's a good time to just let these guys catch it actually instead of just I don't know, like the rhythm just seems off compared to where it's been. But I think we're gonna talk a lot more about Game 4. But one more quick ad for you guys.
What's funny is when me and James were on the train talking about this, we were like, one ad today. One ad. We're not going to talk. We're going to talk for 15 minutes. Here we are 25 minutes later.
Five more minutes. We're going
to talk about Game 4. We don't want to talk about Game 3 anymore. Everybody forget it. It's done. As soon as you hear this, no more Game 3 talk to anybody.
I will give some credit to a few places. One, there was an at-bat before the Dodgers had scored the run. It was that second inning, and just give some credit to the Dodgers because they're playing well. They're a good team. Will Smith went down 0-2 immediately on 2 cutters against Severino, 2 really nice pitches. And then he battled so fucking hard to work out a 9-pitch at-bat where he eventually hit that stupid infield single off Severino's glove where there was a ball in a sweeper that, looking back, it was very definitely a strike. Will Smith got the call. That kind of sucked. Would have been a nice strikeout, changed the vibe a little bit, but then a foul ball, another ball that just missed, a foul ball, another sweeper that really looked like a grab the corner. Really did, looking back at the K zone after this at-bat in the ballpark, but he didn't get it. And then he just nubbed out a cutter for a single. 9-pitch at-bat. Those always feel like they didn't get you, so that was good. I mean, again, give some credit to this Dodgers team. And I just get
they are good.
They are. It's a good ball club.
Best in baseball.
Yeah, I don't know. Fucking Walker Buehler. He really showed the fuck up. All the shit we talked, kind of forgot that he is a dog at the end of the day. Always has been, always will be, and he dug deep and he had his best start of the fucking year. So
Padres might just own him.
Yeah, Padres might just own him. Wish we were playing them right now, but
I said it.
I know. I think we realized it after we talked about it, and then
I always realized it. Don't say we. You realized it. I was Padres the whole time.
All right, I don't know. I was in between.
Yeah, you were. That's what I'm saying. Don't say we. It's a you thing.
I think you were a little bit with me at the beginning of Murphy's that night. But Game 4, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Ace-off. Yoshinobu Yamamoto versus Jose Quintana. Man, that's it. Again, how many times the season gonna be online with Jose Quintana on the bump?
How many times are we gonna listen to Quintana by Travis Scott in the morning?
Quintana.
I'm gonna listen to it so much. It's been working. Got to keep it going. Got to keep the vibes up. The great thing is, even if they lose tomorrow, season's still not done.
It's not technically over.
Not technically over, but boy, oh boy, would I love to tie it up tomorrow. I'd really feel a lot better. I mean, it's really this simple because I know 8-0, 10-0. That's what it looks like. I think if the bats are alive in those games are going to be a lot closer. They're handled a little bit differently. The vibe's different. I don't think the Dodgers break it open like they do if you're able to put a little bit more pressure on them because really, once they went up 4-0 today, they were like, oh, this game is like that Kike Hernandez was the night twist.
It fell over. Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's just the bats got to wake up. And maybe we get a couple fly balls that go out for home runs tomorrow. Maybe the wind blows the other way. I don't know what it's going to have to take, but the bats just simply need to be better. I really don't think the pitching's actually been a problem at all.
I think pitching every single game is good enough to win. That was a hanger from Reed Garrett, but I still trust Reed Garrett. He still is the best option reliever we have.
To that point, that's 4 runs. 4 or 5 runs.
Score 4 runs
is the range of where you need to score to win most games anyway.
I would be very comfortable if the Mets scored 4 runs and what if they could win a game and not win a game. You'd at least be in the game at the end. But I want to talk about Yamamoto a little bit. A lot is being made in the media about what's being called reverse splits on him. I hate reverse splits conceptually because it really just comes down to pitch design. And I think that there is some merit in with Yamamoto just because his 2 main secondary pitches, off-speed pitches, are going to be the splitter and the curveball. And those are pitches that they're not tougher on right. I mean, I guess they are. I don't know. They're just pitches.
The curveball thing doesn't make sense to me just because it's still coming into your bat at some point.
A little bit. His is a little more 1260. I mean, not really. His actually does have some horizontal movement on it.
But the splitter, I understand.
It's a conceptual thing where those are pitches that aren't going to have any splits because they're moving much more up and down. Where sliders and sweepers especially will always have a split because it's going further towards a player. But I also don't think that it's that smart to be that extreme about it. This year, right-handed hitters perform better against Yamamoto than left-handed hitters. They perform significantly better. But he faced fewer than 200 of each. So to me, that's not super indicative of a sample. I'd love if some smart baseball people, some people who've ever worked at baseball ops could get at me in this one to explain this to me. But it just isn't, it doesn't feel like a thing to me where the Mets should be running away from the lefties, especially when the lefties might simply be better hitters than the righties. That to me might be a situation where you're making a mistake.
Yeah, I'm also, this is going to sound crazy, but I am looking at the lefties that have gotten the most plate appearances this year against him. Charlie Blackmon, who just retired. Ryan McMahon had a down year. Jake McCarthy, not much of a hitter. Cody Bellinger, bad year.
He had a fine year, Bellinger.
I mean, it was down, though. He was whatever. Corbin Carroll was bad, so he could have faced Corbin Carroll when he was bad. I really don't know.
Could have faced good Carroll, too. But Yamamoto missed a big part of the middle season.
Yeah, and I think that's when
he faced early bad Carroll. Good McMahon, though. Good McMahon.
Jake Cave was a guy they faced a lot. Sam Hilliard. I don't know. Again, the sample sizes are super important. I don't think there's enough there to say whether or not. I'm sure there ended up going to be the same of if you took everybody's WRC plus of righties versus lefties. I bet you it's going to be pretty close to each other. That's just how baseball works. But yeah, I don't love running away from it. And you kind of mentioned it earlier too. By just giving him righties, now you allow him to throw other pitches as well. You're
But
just
he
keeping
doesn't.
them around.
He doesn't really throw other pitches. The whole thing with Yamamoto is that his approach against the righties and lefties is basically the same. It's four-seam fastballs, it's split fingers, and it's curveballs. He will throw a few more cutters to the lefties, and then once in a while he'll mix in some sliders and two-seamers to the righties, but it is going to be up and down. It's an up-and-down game with Yamamoto. It's four-seamers high, splitters mids, curveballs low. It is that's what he does.
I still don't love the decision.
No, true. I understand conceptually why this would be reverse splits, but I just don't think that, especially if the hitters are worse, it's not worth.
That's the other thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't we're gonna keep every single righty in. Then why don't we play every lefty against Walker Buehler then? Because his best offsuit pitch is a sweeper by far. So why are we doing that? Why now we care about all the handedness of our hitters the day before we did not? Winker must be fucked up. If he's not, I'm upset.
Yeah, and McNeil clearly is because they're refusing to play him anywhere at all.
Yeah. I don't know. They pitch hits for Tyrone Taylor.
I know.
To lead off in the 8th. Like I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
Down 7, whatever it is.
I know. And then the one other thing that I don't know. I don't want to foresee this, but I know that Tyler McGill kind of came in and got smacked around a little bit. Muncy and Shohei hit the home runs off him. But when you're planning for Game 5 to still be a combination of Kodai Senga and David Peterson, Quintana is on a bit of an island now in this Game 4.
We kind of need 6.
That's it. If anything goes wrong early, what the fuck do? You're back into a corner. Does Peterson just come in? Does Kodai come in? Like, what is the contingency plan if Quintana gives up 2 in the second?
I mean, is there a contingency?
And they look bad. Like, they're hit hard.
Is there a plan where if McNeil truly isn't ready and isn't actually able to go, do they just throw him on the IL and you say he's done for the year? We bring another pitch.
To bring someone else back after you did this, put McNeil here originally? I don't know.
Take Ottavino back on the roster? I don't know. I guess Budo can pitch.
I guess Budo could just be a long man now. But
I think they'll probably give Maton a couple innings. Like, I don't feel great about this.
I guess they have those guys ready to go. I don't know. We need another Jose Quintana legacy out there.
It'd be great. Mets score 100 runs. I promise we won't lose.
Yeah. If you guys are going to Citi Field tomorrow, come in with high energy. Let's just try to get to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. There's no way he's ever pitched an environment like what Citi Field could be like today, Thursday.
I will say, any chance about, this or that, I don't know if it's necessarily going to hit as much for Yoshinobu Yamamoto as it would have for other pitchers, but get to him. He's never had an environment like this. There's no way.
We're putting guys on base. We smacked him around in April. It's about getting that first run on the board. This has not been like the other series we've played. Team has scored first one every single game so far, all 3 games. Again, partially, we got shut out twice. Can't win with no runs.
Impossible.
That makes sense.
Never happened.
But it never happened once in the history of baseball. And Yamamoto was good. Like, I think Mets fans kind of pretend he's not good sometimes, but he's a good fucking pitcher. You just got to get to the guy. You have to fucking get to the guy.
He's hittable.
Of course. He's beatable. He has to be.
Let's fucking do it. Guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Mets'd Up Podcast. Make sure you follow us on all our social media at Mets'd Up on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Subscribe to the Mets'd Up Podcast YouTube channel, see the video version of this. And if you are listening at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, what's your Twitter?
James_Shiano.
I'm Draftnik Mark with a C. We will catch you guys after Game 4. I would really like to be a lot happier than I am tonight. So let's fucking go Mets. Wake up.
Let's fucking go Mets. Let's tie it up. See you guys tomorrow.